Big Bird notices that Gina is closing her vet clinic up and excitedly discusses her travel plans with Alan, Maria, Gordon, and Luis, who make sure she has everything. Big Bird, Baby Bear, Rosita, and Elmo observe all of this and wonder what's going on. They are given hints when they hear Gordon say he's got a crib, and Bob arrives with a baby blanket that he made her. That matches one of his trademark sweaters. Big Bird says he's got a good plan on how to find out what's going on with Gina. Ask her. Gina explains to the excited individuals that she's going to adopt a baby today. They move their discussion to the community garden, and she explains how the adoption process works, showing them a photograph of 10-month-old Marco that was taken the day she first met him. A teary-eyed Gina says that she could tell that she and Marco were meant to be together. The others are moved by her story. They encourage her to pick up her baby, who is born and currently living in Guatemala. Globetrotting Monster Grover arrives and gives Gina all the equipment necessary for her to swim to Guatemala. The other snickers. Gina explains that she intends to fly rather than swim and doesn't need the goggles, floaties, and bathing cap Grover has provided. She takes them off as Grover sheepishly leaves to consult his travel agent. Maria reveals that she intends to travel with Gina to Guatemala to keep her company and help her understand Spanish. Gina is also looking forward to Rosita in helping teach Marco Spanish and English, and Rosita starts with a few Spanish words to teach her baby. The most important ones: te quiero, which means I love you. The other adults gather and wish Gina and Marco well on the trip and exchange hugs. Big Bird has one more thing to tell Gina. Just think, next time we see you, you'll be a mommy. Big Bird supervises as Luis and Gordon try lifting a crib they assembled from the entrance of 123 Sesame Street. Elmo asks what's going on, and the others remind them about Gina arriving with her adopted son, explaining what adoption is. Gordon notes his and Susan's own adoption of Miles as an example, and Elmo remembers that this means Gina will be a mommy. Big Bird alerts everyone of the arrival, and he, Elmo, Bert, Alan, Telly, Baby Bear, and Cookie Monster sing, "There's a baby coming," while bringing their gifts. Even Oscar is getting ready with some grungy playthings, believing the baby will be a Grouch, like him. Following the song, Bob arrives and observes that both he and Alan have brought diapers, while Rosita brings another mobile with little guitars hanging from it. The group goes over to the entrance to Gina's apartment, where Luis and Gordon discover the crib won't fit through the door. As everyone strategizes what to do next, Maria arrives with Gina and her baby Marco in her arms. After a beat, they realize Gina is back and they welcome her with hugs and kisses while she introduces them to Marco. Everyone begins to clamor around them, and Maria notes that the baby and new mommy need rest, and the crowd disperses. As they make their way inside, Maria tells Luis and Gordon that they could have separated the crib into pieces and bring them upstairs, something the men didn't think of. Gina situates herself in the apartment with Marco and Maria. Gina is about to relax when there's a knock on the door. Big Bird, Elmo, and the Birdketeers visit with a banner bearing the alphabet on it. Big Bird figures you're never too young to learn the alphabet, so they sing the alphabet song to Marco. After Maria leads them out the door, another knock is heard. It's Telly, who arrives to give Marco the Triangle Lovers test by holding a triangle on a stick up to Marco. He interprets Marco's blank expression as a good sign, and Maria leads him out, reminding him that even baby triangle lovers need to rest. Just then, an announcer informs Gina and Maria of the arrival of Super Grover, who falls with a terrible crash through the ceiling. He attempts to help, but initially mistakes a pillow and a toy giraffe for the baby. He proceeds to ask the small person Gina is holding if they've seen a baby, learning he's the one he's looking for. With all the helpers gone, Marco is free to rest. Though Gina hints that she'd like to be alone with Marco, Maria agrees and exchanges thanks and hugs before leaving, while Gina sings, "I'm your mommy now," to her son. Big Bird, Elmo, Telly, Rosita, and Baby Bear show up inquiring if Marco has had enough rest. Luis and Gordon also bring in the crib, so they can start assembling it for Marco's nap. Others suggest activities they can do with Marco when Oscar pops up, ready to see if the baby's a Grouch like him. He asks if he likes trash and takes Marco's silence as a refusal to answer. A perfect response for a grouch. The others continue to work and play around Marco as Gina gives a happy sigh. The next day, Gina welcomes me as some of her neighbors, including Kevin, admire her new baby, Marco. A pair of tap-dancing pigs come by and compliment him when asking Gina when she'll be going back to her veterinary work. Gina shows Marco some of the things they can do today when Big Bird and Snuffy arrive with a wagon full of toys. They hope to play with Marco and suggest a game of baseball, roller skating, pogo stick jumping, and checkers, but realize that none of the activities they planned are appropriate for a baby. Gina suggests that Big Bird and Snuffy need to think like babies. That is, to imagine themselves as babies and think about what they'd like to do. Big Bird and Snuffy picture themselves as infants and know they can't do the fun things they want to do, but they know they can play peekaboo. The two play it with Marco, who seems to enjoy it. Big Bird recalls having a snack of birdseed baby food when he was younger. Snuffy says that while he was eating his strained cabbage, his mom used to sing a special song while his dad played the tuba. The group sings Snuffy's Eating Song as Gina feeds Marco his mashed bananas. The song makes Big Bird and Snuffy hungry, and Gina lets him sample some of Marco's food. Big Bird recalls that his granny bird used to play an animal game with him when he was little. He, Snuffy, and Gina then make animal sounds while trying to guess what they are. They make noises of a cow, a rooster, and a sheep. But Snuffy is stumped when Big Bird goes oink oink until the tap-dancing pig goes by and rattles his memory. Gina compliments Big Bird and Snuffy's new way of playing with babies when the discussion of naps comes up. All the talk about naps causes the two friends to promptly fall asleep, and Gina tells Marco that one day he'll be able to play baseball with them when he's older.